Good morning, everyone. Good day, wherever you are in the world. Came across something this morning. And, okay. Good reminder. I guess I'll share that again. Shared this a long time ago, probably more than once. I was driving to work, and it's about a 20, it was about 15-20 minute drive. I was about halfway there, mountain road, yes. And suddenly I didn't think about anything really. I was just getting ready to go to work, yes. Suddenly this vision opened up, and I saw the universe. That's what it looked like. And there was this mass of swirling. It wasn't swirling, it was just there. It was all in light. Okay, now you see the lights behind me. It wasn't like that. It was just, it seemed like just this incredible mass of all little particles or something, and it made up this light. That's just too difficult to describe it. And I saw from this mass of some type of existence, yes, I saw all these tiny little lights, tiny little lights. There was from the mass, there were a lot of them, quickly moving away. And then there was another stream, and they came really slow. They were like in slow motion compared to the other ones. And there were just a few going back to the mass. And I looked at that, and of course, immediately knew, okay, Spirit will show me something. What is it? And I said, what is this? Why am I being shown this? I have no clue. What is this all about? And I got one sentence. One. So many leave, so few come back. And my whole being was just suddenly overtaken by this just absolute feeling of sadness. Just it was so, I have never experienced anything like that before in my life, no matter what I went through. And I have no idea. I have no doubt this vision only lasted for a few seconds in a way, right? It feels like an eternity. I mean, even now when I think back, it felt like I was in this vision for the longest time, just watching. Yes, watching with my spiritual eyes. And I have no idea who drove the car. I didn't stop. But I know someone took the wheel for a moment. And after I was kind of back, I was gripping the steering wheel. I remember I was gripping the steering wheel and I drove just in this total, almost like shock to the rest of the way to work. And I parked the car, and I thought, I am not ready to go in there right now to go to work. I can't, I don't even know what that, my whole body was just reacting to it. My spirit was just in this, like, my goodness, what did I just experience? And before I even got there, I knew I'd just seen God. I know I've just seen my heavenly parent. And all these little lights going were spirits being born on earth, to be born here on earth. Wondering what, oh, yep. And the few that are making it slowly, like in slow motion, back in spirit realm had grown enough to at least were trying to get back to her heavenly parents' mass. Yes? Okay. I sat there and I can't go in there. I can't. I have, I'm in, I was still in a way in a total trance and didn't know even how to step out of the car at that moment. And I looked at the clock and I'm going, wait a minute. I'm an hour early. What just happened? I have no idea what happened. I got too much to do to be an hour early anywhere or at that time. And I'm going, how did that happen? How did I leave an hour early for work? And then I got there and I had 45 minutes left to collect myself, to pray, and cry. I cried and cried and cried after that experience. I felt just such a deep sadness coming from our Heavenly Parent. Oh my gosh, it was... The reason I'm telling the story is because I saw in a group with theological discussions, and True Father said that in one of his moments, which, again, if you understand True Father, if you have read enough about what True Father says, that, you know that True Father would never, ever say anything to be mean or to be hateful towards anyone. Or let you know, oh, well, you, because you're not following me, this or that. He's in not in that way. It's always teachings. They're always teachings. Are there some warnings? Yeah, but it's always about teaching people, loving people above and beyond anything and all. And he said that you won't be able to see, not even in spirit world, will you be able to see God, our Heavenly Parent, with your spiritual eyes. And some people are taking that and turning it completely around this and that. What that means is, how Father meant that was, now let me say it right, okay? We don't want to see our Heavenly Parent, even in spirit world. Right? We're having a hard time here, even when you are a believer. Yes? Because if you truly were a believer, in the existence of God, our Heavenly Parent, the Creator, Manitou, Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother, God, whatever you want. A mass in the universe that's bigger and greater and more amazing than anything I've ever seen in my life. Picture or otherwise. We are the ones we are the ones not acknowledging God. It's not that God doesn't want us to see His presence or experience His presence. See what God is like, looks like, in what kind of a state God is present. Of course, what do we want? We want what? We want Him to see, we want Him to look like a human? Okay. You got to remember that everything is created in God's image, including the plants and the animals. So which one do you want to pick out there? Can you really do that? Can you, in a sense, we want to we live here in the physical world on Earth. So, of course, what are we going to do? You want to put some kind of a physical appearance to God. Good luck with that. Yes, people can't even agree. Though Jesus lived on Earth, they can't even agree what He looked like. Yes, yeah, I'm just saying. That's really funny, isn't it? In a way, angels. What do angels really look like? Right? Yes. Well, someone came up with the wings. Do they have wings? I don't know. What do you need wings for? Actually, in spirit world, I'd say everybody's floating around there, right? Oh, so what do they need legs for? Huh? Really, when it comes down, or arms? What do you actually need in spirit world? All right, all right, all right. So when it comes down to it, angels could just be, I don't know, tiny little dots, right? Something, or yeah, some kind of a color. Right? You look out there. What's the most? What color is most represented out there? For example, right now in the summertime, in the springtime, in the fall time, not so much in winter. Right? It's green. When it comes down to it, it's green. Angels could all be green. They're everywhere, right? Yes. In the wintertime, they're white. Yeah. Okay. It doesn't snow everywhere. Oh, so it's green everywhere, somewhere all year long. I'm just saying. Yes. So, in the way Father meant that was, you won't be able. You don't want to. You won't be able to. Even if God would stand right in front of you, you wouldn't be able to see him with your spiritual eyes. Because you don't want to. Most people in spirit world won't. I, again, just thinking about it, probably are too ashamed, too embarrassed. How do you survive in such enormous purity? Then most people don't end up in a place where they actually would be able to see God. God's not going to go and hang around. What's going on? What we're reading right now? Do you really think that God's hanging around with all them people killing each other? Okay, who's right or wrong? God can't be there. Can't. His existence won't allow the realms that we just wander around here and in spirit world freely this night, right? Yes. Not if he wants to stay. She, he, she, depending on Heavenly Father, Heavenly Mother. Now there's a big old thing around that. And another thing, yes, you can absolutely see God with your spiritual eyes here on earth. If you're willing, if you find a way to truly love even your enemies. And how do you do that? I talked about that before. Find in every person the origin, the image of God. And you have to do that with your spiritual eyes, because you have to search the person. And sometimes it's visible. I said, I've had a friend with the most amazing hands. Looking at these hands, and it's like, these are the absolute most perfect. Otherwise, she could not see, by the way. She was born with a oxygen deficiency as a baby, and ended up blind. Her eyes were kind of odd, looking this and that. But her hands, so she could not even see the most beautiful part of herself. Could not see it. But I could. And I told her, I said, oh my gosh, I told her, we were talking, she liked to talk with her hands, this and that. And I said, you have the most amazing hands I've ever seen in my life. They were perfect, beautiful. And they had this translucent kind of, her hands were, otherwise she was, I can't remember if she was part Mexican or not, but otherwise her hair was really black, and her skin tone was a little bit more of a brown than mine, yes. And but her hands were white, whiter than white. I mean, they were, that's it. It was amazing. Amazing hands. Her fingernails, everything on it was just perfect. And I noticed that. amazing. Every so often I meet someone that I just look at them going, what is shining from within them, out of them? Right? Oh, and it was just their whole being. No, it was just one little part that was there within them that was created just this atmosphere around them that was so bright that I could see, and I used my spiritual eyes. Had another friend, now, my hearing. And it wasn't just hearing someone talk, hearing the noises. But I also, in that instant, I used my physical ears and my spiritual ears. And I noticed that while we were talking on the phone. And I just listened. When she was done talking, I said, I think you have to repeat that, because I just realized, and I told her too, you have the most amazing voice. You have the most beautiful voice I've ever heard to this day. The most beautiful voice as an adult. Children, a lot of children have beautiful voices. The way that they're talking, it's like bells ringing, but soft bells ringing. Yes. Uh, but she, as an adult, had this absolutely amazing voice. The tone of her voice was so exquisite, and I heard that. Yes. Suddenly, huh? Wow. So I'm just saying, Father didn't mean that we're not capable of doing it, that it's not possible. It's, we are so lost when it comes to all that number one, we don't use our spiritual senses. And if you don't learn to use your spiritual senses here on earth, what do you think when you go to spirit world? There was one book, and I've mentioned this before, A Wanderer in the Spirit Lands, where, again, it is translated as for us to understand here on earth. Was it all translated properly? Probably not. But again, if one uses both the spirit body and the physical body, you start to understand on how many different things are meant when messages are coming from spirit world. If they come from the side of goodness, in a way of teaching, not the ones where you're being accused, this, that, I don't know what. Listen, they are not. They may be coming from spirit world, but they're not genuine, and they're not there to support you, to help you to grow towards God's heart. Just saying, okay? So, no. And there was another one. Someone had tried to tell me, said, oh, this came from, it was what, last year's, and I can't remember exactly, a couple of years ago, maybe just recently, who knows. That Father said this and that from spirit world, and I read that and I go, that's not true, Father. I already know that. That's a bunch of garbage. And whoever he came from, whoa, buddy, you need some prayers in spirit world. I'm just saying, okay? Be aware of that. Again, how do people want to see God? Huh? Of course you're not going to see the true God. You're going to see something that you made up in your own mind, or someone else made up in their own mind. Yes? True love. I've said this. What is love? True love, where you can love your enemy, is to find that origin in them and to be able to see it. Sometimes you just need your physical eyes, but you need your spiritual eyes to be aware of it. Sometimes it's just your spiritual eyes, yes, that suddenly connects to another person. You go, huh. And you look at that and you see that amazing original self within them, part of God, part of, as a man, yes, of course you see part of Heavenly Father. In a woman, of course you see part of Heavenly Mother. Does that make sense now to people? Okay. Anywho, that's what I wanted to share this morning. Mainly because, dear me, people confused out there or what. Then they twisting, true parents' words around any which way they want to. It's like, ugh. That's hard to love. Uh, I had another, again, so do I have spiritual experiences every day? Of course I do. Do I need to share everything? No, I don't. It just comes in handy when I teach, right? Yes, I try to, if this condition, whatever. And with the one that is just, oh gosh, just stop already. I mean, God, where are you going to go with all this next? And it seems like just a constant confrontation. And then when this came up this morning, again, yeah, downgrading someone else that's really, really, I personally feel, is doing an amazing job teaching, being degraded by that person, coming up with just all this nonsense. And I'm looking and I'm going, oh my gosh, at the end, when I went in and explained something, I tried to teach, I said, I'm going to be praying for you so that you can come out from behind that tree that you were hiding. And I had this spiritual image of that person, like a little child, just peeking around the tree to see if it was safe. And you can't. How can you not love? How can you not love a child, regardless whose child it is? At the you know, below the age of 10, how can you not love them peeking around so shy and kind of scared? So your heart just goes out to that. Yeah. Yes. So, how do we start to love our enemy when we see the true face before spiritual eyes of the enemy and realize, oh my gosh, there is too, just a part of our heavenly Father in a man, our heavenly Mother in a woman, hiding, wanting to come out, maybe can't due to trauma, maybe other experiences, resentment, yeah, all that kind of stuff, yeah. But really what there is in every one of us is that little child that just hasn't been able to spiritually grow. Yes? So, start to look at everybody like that. We should be able to love even our enemy. You wouldn't want to go and hurt a child on the enemy's side, would you? Just say. Just asking. Huh? Interesting that came up considering what we're reading, where I can't find God in any of that. I have no idea why that is in the Bible. Maybe the Israelites, just because they were, right, had a covenant with God, and again, they were supposed to find God in that place, their place with God, and God's heart to mind, and yes, live in that way of honoring that covenant. Yeah? And it seems that with all these wars and all that territory fighting and I don't know what, and people getting mad at each other and then start to fight again, right? They're just getting farther and farther away from seeing God. Yeah? Yes, they go to the spirit world. If you can't even find God here on earth, which it's very easy to do so, it's probably even harder in spirit world. I could imagine. Yes. All right. Enough of that. Let's get going. One could talk and talk and talk about all this. And anyway. Oh, the book. I never finished. So in this book, A Wonder of, in the Spirit World, one way on how a spirit goes to spirit world is, and that happened to that particular spirit, you get chained to your grave in the dark. You can't move, can't do anything because of the life that one has led. Again, so does that mean that that's actually happening? You're chained to your grave? No. It is a way to explain on how immobile you are when you go to spirit world if you have not developed, for one reason or another, enough heart to mind on the side of goodness. Searched within yourself even for that origin, the origin of ourself, that part that within you is a part of our Heavenly Parent. Doesn't make you God, doesn't make you, but there is in every one of us, there is a part of it. Yes. Yeah, maybe I'll tell you. I've told that story before too, where I saw my heart. Yes. The inside of my heart, my spiritual heart, is amazing too. All right. Let's get going here. We're in the last book, in the first book of Maccabees, 16. The victory of Simon's sons over Sentebaeus. John then went up from Gezer and reported to his father Simon what Zendebaeus was busy doing. At this Simon summoned his 2 elder sons, Judas and John, and said to them, well, John was already there. My brothers and I and my father's house have fought the enemies of Israel from our youth until today. And many a time we have been successful in rescuing Israel. That's one way of looking at it. All right. But now I am an old man, while you, by the mercy of heaven, are the right age. Take the place of my brother and myself, go out and fight for our nation, and may heaven's aid be with you. I don't understand why any father would want their sons or daughters to be out there doing that. He then selected 20,000 of the country's fighting men and cavalry, and these marched against Sendebaeus, spending the night at Modein. Making an early start, they marched into the plain to find a large army opposing them. I'm hearing you guys. Sacrifices? Oh, sacrifices have to be made? Really? They usually have to be made after somebody did something bad. That's when you make sacrifices. That's when you have to start making sacrifices to fix things. Just saying. Making an early start, they marched into the plain to find a large army opposing them, both infantry and cavalry. How large? We know how much you got. Usually you guys are so good at telling me exactly how much, so we don't know here how large. It was large. Who knows what large meant? It wasn't extra large or super large. Maybe Simon sent his sons with a super large army, but we don't know that. There was, however, a stream bed in between them. John drew up facing them, he and his army, and seeing that the men were afraid to cross the stream bed, crossed over first himself. When his men saw this, they too crossed after him. He divided his army into 2, with the cavalry in the center. Hello? Did you get in? I have my door open. Or the top part. Oh, it's so nice out there right now. Feels like I'm sitting on my porch, hearing the crickets and this and that. Don't hear much traffic. I do hear it, but not much. It's really nice. He divided his army into 2, with the cavalry in the center and the infantry on either flank. Why the heck would he do that? Why would the cavalry be in the center? Shouldn't the infantry be in the center? They're much weaker. Well, anyway, who cares? Yeah, anybody who can own a horse, right, is more important than the ones who can just walk. Yeah, I got you, man, I got you. As the opposing armed cavalry was very numerous. Oh, okay. So let's, so, let, all right, Daniela, stop. I'm stopping. Ugh. The trumpets rang out. Sendebees and his army were put to fight, many of them falling mortally wounded, and the rest of them fleeing to the fortress. Then it was that Judas, John's brother, was wounded, but John pursued them until Sendebees reached Kedron, which he had rebuilt. Their flight took them as far as the towers in the countryside of Azotus, and John burned these down. The enemy loses amounted the enemy losses amounted to 10,000 men. John returned safely to Judea. So we just got a little inkling on how big that army actually was of Sendebees. Okay, all right. I rest my case. What I don't understand is that why burn everything down, this and that? What's the point of that? Huh? Isn't all this built up with the money, with the labor of the common people when it comes down to it? You ever notice kings and soldiers, they don't really work for anything. Okay, talking at that time. Oh, but they work for the freedom of the people. Well, then don't burn everything down. That's it. It's one thing if you just have the armies do whatever the armies do. Okay, you're willing to go to war. All right. Hey, by the way, everybody get out of the way. They're going to have another slaughter going on, somewhere. Why involve the common people? Why go and burn cities down? Why go and burn down these towers, whatever? Why do any of that? Why go plunder the common people? What for exactly? Then you'll have to give up your fight. Yeah, interesting thing. They never seem to have to give up the fight because they're killing too many people. Right? It's not something. Tell you what. Crazy. All crazy. Them all crazy people. That's what I say. Simon's tragic death at Doc. His son John succeeds him. Ptolemy, son of Abu Baz, had been appointed general in command of the plain of Jericho. He owned a great deal of silver and gold. We gotta go after that. And was the high priest's son-in-law. His ambition was fired. He hoped to make himself master of the whole country, and therefore treacherously began to plot the destruction of Simon and his sons. They had Hitlers at that time too. What is that? He must have already had quite a bit of whatever, because, why would he suddenly go, hey, I could become king, god of everything? How many of them have we had in the world as well, huh? Have they ever done any good? Any good at all? I'm not wrong. Just lay down your arms and start growing something. Raising something. Do some good. Ugh. Stupid. Ugh. Uneducated. Ugh. Here goes another one. Okay. So sick and tired of reading. I tell you what, if it weren't in the Bible, I wouldn't be reading this at all. Garbage. Daniela. I can't help it. How are these people even expecting to be close to God anymore? At all. Any of them. It doesn't matter who they are. I'm going to start growling here in a minute. Yet you gotta love them. All little children. I know. The thing from Spirit World right now is we have to be held accountable for what we did. When we can't take responsibility on our own, we're too blind, even in Spirit World, even at this time still, 2,000 years later. I've no doubt I'm not just reading this, oh, let's make a condition for yay. There's many different things that are coming out. And I guess that's why it's in here. How has our Heavenly Parent, how has God truly prepared that path of restoration for every one of His children? So every one of His children can return at a faster pace, maybe, back to where they went from originally. So, one could think, the way I just talked before, this and that, well, any soldier in Spirit World, or these guys here, the old Israelites, old-timey Old Testament Israel, must be real mad at me. Well, they're not. They're not. They're actually grateful. And that maybe is why it is in the Bible. So it can be brought up. Say, guys, look what happened here. Can we stop repeating things over and over again? If there are so many people in the world believing in God, heck are we doing still? Then, huh? Just asking. Okay. Simon, who was inspecting the towns up and down the country and attending to their administration, had come down to Jericho with his sons Matthias and Judas in the year 172. In the 11th month, the month of Shabbat, the son of Abubaz lured them into a small fortress called Dock, which he had built, where he offered them a great banquet. So it's the year 172. That is after Jesus was born, or was Jesus not born yet? Because we're not quite sure exactly, was Jesus born in the year 2000? Because if he was, then why are they the month of Shabbat? Why are they still, aren't they supposed to be all Christians now? Oh, no, of course they're not. That's a little odd, right? Yes, kind of interesting too. What's going on there? Okay, maybe we'll find out more. Since people can't agree when Jesus was born. Okay. Okay, gotta have some fun with this too. My gosh, and it needs to be a little balance. I might become depressed if I continue reading this. No, it won't. Okay. We do not fall into the pits of despair. We never, ever do that. Alright. The sons of Abubaz lured them into a small fortress called Dock, which he had built, where he offered them a great banquet, having previously hidden men in the place. When Simon and his sons were drunk, bad idea, Ptolemy and his men reached for their weapons, rushed on Simon in the banqueting hall, and killed him with his 2 sons and some of his servants. He thus committed a great act of treachery and rendered evil for good. Well, weren't they just fighting against each other? What was Simon thinking? See, when you're too full of it, then suddenly, okay, I'm just saying. Ptolemy wrote a report of the affair and sent it to the king, in the expectation of being sent reinforcements and of having the cities and the province made over to him. He also sent people to Gezer to murder John, and sent written orders to the military commanders to come to him so that he could give them silver, gold, and presents. And he also sent others to seize control of Jerusalem and the Temple Mount. But someone had been too quick for him and had already informed John in Gezer that his father and brothers had perished, adding, "He's sending someone to kill you too." Overcome as John was by the news, he arrested the men who had come to kill him and put them to death, being forewarned of their murderous design. The rest of John's acts, the battles he fought, and the exploits he performed, the city walls he built, again, and all his other achievements from the day he succeeded his father as high priest, are recorded in the annals of his pontificate. Whatever that means now. Ooh, that's the end. Oh, hallelujah. Ooh. Of the first book of Maccabees. My goodness, we did it again. Now there's the second book of Maccabees. Okay. Oh my gosh, and the second book also covers the same year. 15 years? Only? Yeah. Ugh. How many are there here? Ugh. Ugh. 15. Ooh, one less. Yes, 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 you guys. I got you now. I see all those little children behind the tree. Boys and girls, mostly boys. You've been playing with tools you shouldn't. And got people hurt. All right. That is it, my dears. I don't see God in any of it. Nowhere to be seen. It's just one slaughter on the one side, and the one gets a hold of the other one. Seems like just depends on who is the more stupid one at the time, or more trusting one, or I don't think it's even that. Again, at the end, how Simon and his sons died, was it really like that? I don't know, sounds kind of made up to me. Can't imagine that you'd be that dumb to, oh, he's surrendered. Oh, he's giving us a banquet. But that's it. There's that. Yes, I got up at 3 o'clock again this morning. I love it. I just like the time to myself before I have the little one, and all day. So how do you do it? It's usually after lunch when I have a little lunch. I get a little, but not much, and then I get the second wind, and I'm okay. Yes, I could take a nap with the baby. No, I'm not going to do that. That worries me too much at this time. Maybe when she's a little older. But I get my times of rest during the day. Oh, we got into the pool yesterday. It was so hot, and by the time the shade hit the pool, right, which I can't take her out in the sun. This is such a light-skinned little one, by the way. My youngest granddaughter has the most amazing skin. It is, most babies get the little acne. That all come out? Just heard something. Gets a baby acne, or they have little, they get little, the skin's just out in the open now, and when I was so protected before it happens. This one, practically nothing. She is, and she is so white skinned. Okay, she's so light, tan skinned. There's no such thing as white skin, people, okay? Yeah, I was taught that by a African. Yeah, he actually is African. And he's really dark skinned. And he says, well, people nuts out there. There's nobody white. And he wore this. I think I said this. I related this story before. He was wearing one of those really white bathrobes, you know, that you get in the motel. If you're in a good motel, you know, you get a white bath. He had that on, and he went next to a white person, a really, really light tanned person. And he says, does that look white to you? Yeah. And then he had all different tones of skin tones there with him. He said, any of that look yellow to you? Just saying. Or red. It was the best. Come on now, let's be honest out there, right? Yes, this isn't white. Does that look white to you? Huh? No. All right, so my youngest granddaughter's skin, it is so light toned that you have to be really careful out in the sun with her. But it's flawless. She has flawless skin. Okay? And because it's so light. To some people, that will come to their mind again. Is that what I said? I have to be very careful. I was talking about the pool. Right? I had to wait until the shade came over the pool so I could go out there with her. Unless I wanted to put something over top of it, which we also have, which I might actually do today so we can go in the pool earlier. Anyway, the water was so warm. Yeah, and by then, yeah. And we went in, and she loved it. She loved it. I mean, she loves bath time as well. Loved it. She was the happiest. We could have been in there for an hour, but it was in the afternoon, and it was in the shade, and the water was warm. But again, it's a little 3-month-old, right? So I wanted to make sure we weren't out there for too long, and then wrap her up real good so she wouldn't somehow, right? Yes, get a chill. But she loved it. Loved it. So happy. Mm. Anyway. Mm. I know that people don't have just good moments out there. Right? I'm going to finish up with this. But every good moment that you have, right? Enjoy it. Don't worry about, what's the next bad moment I'm going to have. Because these good moments, these absolute moments of happiness, they're not going to come back. Once they have passed, every minute of that, once they have passed, it has passed. So make sure that you do live in the good moments as well, and not just the bad ones. Huh? Yes? Sounds good, doesn't it? May Heavenly Parent bless and protect you and embrace you with love. And I will talk to you all tomorrow.